podcast. Going to start this a little different. I am Ben Semenak, joined with my uh, Adam Hicks. How's it
You
going,
don't even
Adam?
know what to call me. You don't even know what to call me.
Well, yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah, it is. No, go ahead, man. You're doing fine though. Run with it.
But welcome back to the Building Ambition podcast. Ben, Adam, fitness. I'm over here in Madison, Wisconsin, recording mobily. So if you hear anything different on my end, I've got plenty of excuses for you. But Adam is in his home base as always. How's it going over there in Ohio?
Good, buddy. Just got done. So we're recording a little bit earlier than we normally do. We usually do Sundays in the afternoon. But it is the 1st of May. What is today is May the 4th. So we have open mats starting for wrestling tomorrow, which is why I needed to do this on a Saturday. But we have open weight room for anybody that wants to come Saturday morning. So we had a pretty good turnout today. Had kids from second grade all the way up to seniors, which is really exciting for me. Makes things a lot of fun teaching younger kids the proper movements and get into them early before sports coaches get to them and screw them all up.
Okay.
But yeah, we're starting wrestling in May. So we're starting tomorrow with open mats, and I think we're going to have a relatively good turnout. I'm excited for it, but yeah, that's why everything's kind of screwed up and ass backwards this weekend. But it's fun. It's exciting for me. It's what I've always wanted to do. Working just specifically with athletes, kind of getting away from the Gen Pop. Not that I have anything against them. This is just where my interests are. So being able to do that, the weekends are always fun for me. And so it was a fun morning. We kind of got some crappy weather, but that's springtime in Ohio. So we'll see how that goes because a lot of my wrestlers have prom tonight. So they got the big tradition of the walk-ins and all that stuff. And so everybody's kind of worried about their girlfriend's hair and all that stuff. But we'll see how that goes. So what are you doing in Madison this weekend? A little Cinco de Mayo celebration?
It's Cinco de Mayo. It's the Kentucky Derby. I think I've got something else going on. I don't even know. But just trying to behave myself is the main goal this weekend. And, Friday night, one hurdle done, went pretty well. I woke up feeling spry and chipper. Didn't, get too crazy last night, which it's a very dangerous situation down here in Madison, Wisconsin, alcohol-wise. As a man who enjoys craft beer, I come down here and there are like 12 breweries. It's craft beer week in the city. And I'm just trying to sit on my hands and not touch anything. But last night went pretty well. Feeling pretty good, feeling hydrated. Got a little gym session after this and going to do some sprints for the hill climb coming up next week. But everything's feeling pretty good. I'm a lot more confident this year than I was last year. That's for sure. So,
yeah. So I gotta ask, are you not drinking at all this weekend?
Buddy, come on. Cinco de Mayo on the Kentucky Derby.
There you are.
No, I got.
Okay, so you're gonna partake a little bit.
Yeah, I got some Corona Lights. Mixing in a lot of water. And just behaving myself because I absolutely shot myself in the foot last year at every possible opportunity. So this year I know what to expect. I know what I'm going to go through, which is two very good things. I think it's difficult to function in the unknown and the untested. So having this experience to fall back on, I know what kind of shape I was in last year or what kind of lack of shape I was in last year. And I know where I'm at now, which feels pretty good. I've been doing, my training has been a few times a week. I've been doing sprints on the treadmill, going for 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off at about 10 miles an hour and, 2 to 4 degrees incline. So I'll do that for about 20 minutes or so. And, try not to hate it, which inevitably I do end up hating it. But in that time, that's going, 20 minutes is more than the race should take. It should only take about 12 to 13. So in that time, I do my sprints and get my heart rate up to 160 to 180. I get breathing heavy, realize I hate the treadmill, stop running for about 30 seconds, and then realize I hate failing more. So I hop back on the treadmill for 30 seconds and repeat that until I'm done. But, everything's feeling pretty good, all things considered. So I've got no complaints. Like I said, behaving myself during this very trying time in Madison, Wisconsin, but we're surviving. That's for sure.
Good. So for my purposes here, I'm curious about your training leading to this, and you've been pretty focused on this for at least 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks.
I'd say about 6 weeks. It's been serious.
What has there been anything as far as resistance training for this, or just kind of focused on the cardiovascular aerobic portion of it?
So I train generally about 3 times a week, and 2 of those times will be cardio based. It'll be sprints, aerobic exercises on the treadmill. Then my third one is usually on the weekends, where I'm just bumming around in my basement and try to knock out like 300-400 body weight squats.
Wow. Okay.
Because I'm not dragging weights up there with me. It's
right.
Not maximal effort. It's repetitive motion. So let's do a shitload of squats and try not to hate that too, which I always end up hating that as well. But again, hate failing worse. So
and I saw you the other day. You broke out the Vibrams 5-finger shoes. How did that go? How's the feet feeling?
Oh, those were good. I've had those for a while, but I haven't broke them out in a long time. And at work, I wear like dressier boots, so my feet are just too contained and too constrained, which I do not like. And getting the 5 fingers out spreads out the toes a little bit, gets you that wider base of support, gets you a little bit more mobile. So I wasn't running on those, but I did spend 15 minutes walking on the treadmill, just getting my feet and lower legs acclimated to it. But there's not a ton of pain right now. I can barely tell anything, which is pretty good. And I've been trying to stay on top of keeping my feet mobile, which is it's a thing that is, I don't know if I'd say hotly contested, but I think people just don't care enough about foot mobility or lower leg mobility.
Yeah.
And in health and fitness, it's like, dude's feet, stop talking about them. They're gross. But
yeah,
I'm a firm believer in the natural motion of the foot, that it self-corrects. You shouldn't need like orthotics or special shoes or anything. For the most part, feet have worked for tens of thousands of years. Why are we having issues with them now?
Yeah.
So get back to that natural motion of the foot, and just get a little bit more stable like that. So I'm looking forward to getting into those more as I shift the focus after this whole hill climb thing from cardio and all that garbage to more weightlifting focus. I'm planning on doing a 500-pound deadlift here, just so I can outdo my old man, who, what did he say? In competition, he did like a 530 something deadlift at 163. So I'm not going to get down to 163.
Right.
But I can hit that 500-pound deadlift and show him up a little bit there.
There you go. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It'll be a nice little segue here. We really didn't plan on talking about this, but I just finished reading the Squat Bible, and I think the name is Dr. Aaron Horschig. Are you familiar with this guy? And the
name sounds familiar, and the book sounds familiar.
Yes, he's a doctor of physical therapy, and his whole Instagram, everything like that, is perfecting, squat mechanics and movement and things like that. But he has a whole section on like foot health and foot mobility and creating a tripod with a foot. And it was interesting to kind of get into that and think about it a little bit more, because it always, I guess in the back of my mind, I always kind of knew the importance of the foot. And I mean, everything starts there. Like all human movement, unless you're walking on your hands, everything starts in the feet. Creating the tripod with the feet, learning how to independently spread the toes out and things like that. So I started digging into it a little bit more. And Chris Duffin from Kabuki Strength, who's just a phenomenal, like almost 1,000-pound squatter, deadlifted 1,000. I just heard the ceiling shake. I got 2 kids upstairs that I'm not sure how things are going. But he also talks about the importance of the foot and being able for your toes to articulate and function independently and things like that, and spreading them out and increasing strength and power from the floor. So I think it's something, probably not this month because May is pretty jam-packed with learning, but it's something that I need to spend a little bit more time focusing on and learning about, just the importance of the foot and how everything kind of starts there. So kind of interesting stuff,
Yeah, and I think the issue with the foot that people shy away from it too is the complexity of the foot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Between the 3 arches, a couple dozen bones in each foot, all the joints that are there, just the multiple routes of articulation in the foot, it's a lot more confusing than, say, a tricep pushdown, where you are simply extending one joint. And if your elbow hurts, there's a few things that attach to it. We can kind of figure it out. If your foot's jacked up, let's just break out the laundry list and let's start checking off literally, dozens and dozens of potential issues. And that could be causing symptoms up the chain as well. Like Blake Bowman talked about with the breathing and just your upper back pain. Like you get sore traps, you get sore rhomboids because you're breathing wrong. If your feet are functioning incorrectly, we can find knee pain, hip pain, back pain. It goes all the way up to having migraine headaches because your feet are striking wrong and you're completely misaligned. So it's a very important and overlooked part of the body, and I don't know, one that I think just on a base level for me, it's like I can do this to support my foot health or at least improve it slightly. I'm going to do that and disregard the whole like lawsuit thing against Vibram Five Fingers from a couple of years ago.
Yeah. And that's he, to back up your point there, in the Squat Bible, he made the comment that he has a lot of clients that'll come to him with knee pain, thinking, the problem is solely focused in the knee, but it actually is just a symptom of problems within the foot. So lack of mobility and then compensating at another joint is usually what he's finding when people are saying, I can't squat because I have bad knees. So it's not actually the case. It's lack of ankle mobility, dorsiflexion, things like that. You can't get into the proper position and it's causing pain in your knees. So probably something, everybody should really take a good look at, be a good topic for you to dig into here in the future.
Yeah. And, I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I would guess that, at least 50% of knee injuries are not due to knee issues. They are just symptomatic of other issues. Looking at things like ACL tears, I know, yes, it is a knee issue when your ACL tears, but a lot of the time it's a glute issue, having glute medius, glute mins, and having internal rotation in an inopportune time. You have, foot issues from running. If you're a heel strike runner, that can cause a kinetic chain to go up to the knee. Your knee starts absorbing impact that your calf really should be, and having those displaced forces causes knee issues. Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't know the stats for sure. It's just one of those gut feelings, and I think it's pretty solid evidence that knee issues are often symptomatic of other issues.
Right. Yeah. So what has, still going back to talk about your hill climb here, what's the diet look like? how's the body weight? Is that something you're even tracking right now? Talk to me a little bit about that, because I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, I've actually been doing well there, not being an idiot and eating everything in sight, which is a refreshing change of pace for me. I had a while where I was getting after it a little bit, and now I've been eating well for the past probably month or so. I know I was focusing a little bit on it before, but from my heaviest, I think it was like 8 weeks ago, I'm down probably 12 or 15 pounds.
Nice.
So I'm hovering right around that 205 range where I like to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm looking significantly better. I'm not like as pudgy. Still not caught up by any means, but it's like, I don't have the squishy parts that I used to, or at least they're going away. And like I said, everything leading up is feeling better. Like I've been packing lunches instead of going out. When I do go out to get lunches, I'll get reasonable lunches instead of like, hey, let's get a burrito bowl and a bunch of queso and then eat a shitload of chips on top of it. It's like, hey, I'll go get some soup and a sandwich. Got Quick Trips by us. Shout out Quick Trip, the greatest convenience store / gas station chain of all time. They've always got great like hot and ready food there. So get some chicken dumpling soup, get a nice turkey sandwich on some cranberry bread, maybe a little beef sandwich. Who knows what they're selling that day, but it's all good stuff. And then try to keep it under like 600 calories for that meal. Try to make sure I've got enough protein in there and that I'm not getting too out of line on the carbs. But everything's been moving pretty well in that direction. And I haven't been tracking calories. I've just been conscious of them. So,
right.
I don't have the numbers to say like, I've been eating 1,800 calories a day, because I haven't been, maybe. but what I have been doing is just consciously restricting what I'm doing. I'm not going to do the dumpster thing where you just throw all the food into your mouth. I'm not going to go out and have like crazy amounts of food. I took food home yesterday. We went out to eat, took some food back with me. Like, I'm not going to eat an entire meal at a restaurant. So it's just things like that, where it's the simple stuff where the health and fitness professionals will say, here, use these recommendations. And that's because, believe it or not, they work and they're super easy. So that's what I've been doing, because I didn't want to put a lot of effort into it, but still have good results. So it's like, hey, let's consciously just back away from some of the dumb stuff you're doing and start behaving wisely around food.
Right.
And everything seems to work out.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right. Well, I'm just going to toss things over to you. If there's anything else you want to get into, or however you want to do this, I'll clean up, editing stuff in and out. So however you want to, I'm leaving it up to you.
Yeah, we'll roll into a little West Side talk here, and then we can go into whatever you have to say.
Okay.
So, do you want to write her down? Where we are?
Got it.
All right. So, in addition to this hill climb we got going on, we finally have the release of West Side versus the World. I know you got the email yesterday. I saw Nick Mitchell post about it. I saw Michael post about it. Everyone is very excited for the digital release, at least, of West Side versus the World. So, number one question, it's been 12-ish hours since you've got the email. How's the movie?
I actually didn't watch it yet.
Oh, come on, man.
I know, right? Like, I spent all that time, bitching during the winter and upset. We're tracking this story. Finally get the email, and I was like, oh, cool. I need to go do that. But it came through at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I mean, I'm in my mid 30s and things start pretty early for me now. So like 9:30 on a Friday, I'm in bed, and I go to bed earlier than that through the week. So I was like, oh, I got to go downstairs. There was a lot of effort involved for me to have to actually download this. I got to look up this code and type that in. Like, this is a lot of work, right? But no, I also knew, I've got to be up at 5:30 Saturday morning. If I start this now, it's going to be 11 o'clock before I get to bed. And then I'm going to end up talking to somebody about it, whatever. I'll probably end up watching it twice. So I resisted temptation, something I'm going to get to today. But it looks like, I follow a ton of powerlifters on Instagram and everything like that, Facebook, all this stuff.
Right.
Everybody's been posting about it since the emails started coming through. And I think, I also saw like Amazon's shipping physical copies next week. People should have them by the end of the week. So everything seems to be rolling along just as Michael said when he was on the show last week. But no, I plan on getting to it today. At some point, I've got a ton of work that I have to do for all my upcoming stuff. But no, needless to say, I did not watch it yet. I had 3 text messages waiting on me this morning. Did you watch it? And no, I was one of those guys that just bitched through the winter in the past year and a half waiting on this to come out. I get the release and didn't download it yet. So, but that'll be done today.
Well, you've you've waited long enough. What's an extra 24 hours?
That's kind of where I was at with it. It's like it's been 18 months or whatever. I can go another day to make sure that I'm really focused on my sleep right now. Like I make sure I get my 7-8 hours, and nothing really comes between that. Like,
right.
So that's kind of where I'm willing to put that off for another day.
Yeah, and I feel like it's not like Game of Thrones or Endgame, where if you miss it in 24 hours, there are going to be spoilers everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know what the potential spoilers to a documentary about powerlifting would be.
Right.
But I feel like there aren't too many things that are going to potentially be like earth-shaking spoilers.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can't believe I didn't watch it in the first 24 hours.
Yeah. That's a good comparison, because Endgame came out, and within 48 hours I made sure that, because I knew like it's either get off of social media or go see the movie. And that's really not the case at this point. Like I know the history somewhat. I know the faces that are going to be in there. Yeah, so I mean, I'm good to wait till this afternoon. So, but I am looking forward to it. I'm super happy for Michael. Dude, I mean, just any little stupid thing that you could think of that he would have to, any hurdle to jump over or hoop to jump through. The poor guy had to do it to get this out. So he's got to be feeling pretty good about himself and everything right about now. So yeah, I hope everybody enjoys it. If you guys have watched it, hit me up on Instagram. Let me know what you thought. I'm sure I'll post something in my stories or whatever, so you guys will know when I'm going through all of that. But yeah, we'll get to it later this afternoon. Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't. I don't have the digital download. I was going to get a physical copy off of Amazon and wait for that, but I haven't seen anything. I'm obviously not as into the powerlifting community of Ohio as you are, where everyone's going to be going nuts. Been aware that it's happening though, and people are excited. Right. You see the buzz that it's like, oh, I've got my download, and people are finally watching it. People are very excited about it, and I was just wanted to check in and see if you finally got to it after the long 18 months and 24 hours, but apparently not.
Right. Nah, I'll hit it up later this evening. So Saturdays are a little bit once I get through and that's the thing, we're going to talk about this later, but the workload that I have right now, my number one priority is making sure that I get enough sleep at night. So, but on Saturdays, I'll loosen things up. Maybe I'll stay up till 10 o'clock tonight and make sure that I get my download and check it out. So yeah, nothing to report yet, as disappointing as that might be.
Yeah, well, that's all right. I know we're all excited. We're all waiting for it, and a lot of us will probably be watching it relatively soon here. But yeah, since you brought it up, let's break into the schedule of Adam Hicks and everything going on in your life. You said you're focusing on getting sleep, which I know for the past year and a half you haven't been.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean that's the thing, and we've got some announcements to talk about coming up, about the show and the format and things like that. But yeah, since November my life kind of did 180. It was all good things. I changed careers and went back to college, working on my master's degree and getting a teaching license. I've been really focused on my education, not only when it comes to becoming a teacher, but also improving as a strength and conditioning coach, and really digging into credible sources, working on my CSCS. I've got my NSPA sports performance master's evaluation in 2 weeks, which the content for that is kind of overwhelming. And then the following week, right after that, I go to Strongsville, Ohio for a 2-day course for my USAW, which is Olympic lifting, because it's been one of those things where the more I dig into the content and subject of strength and conditioning, the more I realize I don't know. And it's that thing where you don't know what you don't know, and then you're exposed to it, and it's like, well, this is a hole in my game. I need to fix that. So I've really kind of made an effort this year to really get into things and not be so dogmatic with my approach. Like, it's not conjugate for everything. It's not West Side it's not max effort. It's not linear. It's like, let's learn as much as we can, or as much as I can, and figure out what's going to benefit my kids the most. And it's also about, becoming a better wrestling coach, and what can I be doing to serve those kids more, and focused on my family. Because, I guess I don't know if it's a positive aspect of my personality, or in some ways I think it's a big negative. When I get so tuned into something or so focused on things, I get tunnel vision, and I'm like the guy that could sit here for 12 hours just working on something, learning, reading, whatever, and it's to the detriment of my family, or, social, or sleep, nutrition, whatever that might be. So with everything going on, after 4 years of doing this, created this, started from scratch. And I'm talking about the podcast now. We were talking about equipment when we first got on the call here. I'm pretty sure I've been doing this for 4 years. I don't know how many episodes there is, but just recently, like in the past probably 4 to 6 weeks, like things are falling through the cracks. I'll just completely forget about, publishing something, or not putting out the best content that I could be. And so, you and I talked, and I said, I think, in my opinion, this was nothing on your end. Like, it probably came out of the blue. Like, I'd given no indication of this to you.
Yeah.
I said, I think it would be best if I just stepped away from this and turned it all over to you. So this is actually going to be my last episode as a host on the Building Ambition podcast, which I'm excited about. I think you do a great job. You're very, very knowledgeable, which is why I asked you to do this with me. You're kind of carrying the load at this point anyways. You're booking guests, you're producing content, things like I'm just kind of a bump on a log here. I jump in when I can. But it's one of those things where it goes back to an episode we did a while ago, where it's like, learn to say no. What are the things that are benefiting you? What are the things you're focused on for your end goals, and pursue that. So, right now I have this is May, June, July, August. I've got 7 months left until I graduate from grad school. I've got football season coming up. Obviously, wrestling starts again tomorrow. I've got off-season strength and conditioning going on. I've got all these exams and certifications and all this happy, pretentious bullshit to earn initials to put behind my name coming up. And it's like, I can't do all of that well. And we have a lot of people that tune into this, and like, you're depending on me, and I'm generally late getting down here. Or there's something else going on, and it's like, I'm not giving my best effort to this anymore. So yeah, I just made the decision, like paid the bills, like got everything ready to go. I'm sending you an email later today or tomorrow morning with all of the instructions, and it's your baby from now on. So I'm sure probably nobody was really expecting that to hear that when they tuned in today, but it was a decision that I made kind of on my own, and I'm very, very comfortable with it at this point.
Yeah, and it's it's going to be a little strange on my end. I know there's been definitely a lot of thought put into the maintenance and growth of what we have here, because of what we have built over the past few years is it's a good platform to share good ideas, to converse, intelligently about health, fitness, and everything that goes into it. And I want to keep that same spirit going forward, because what we've done is do a really good job of that. So it's it's a little weird for sure. If just going through all the stuff, like, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to get into? All that good stuff. But on the listener end, as far as I'm concerned, nothing should change. There shouldn't be any major shifts. You should still be getting the same content. It'll be more guests. And I told Adam already that he's not done being on the show forever. He'll have to be back. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit uncharted territories for me. I know, you took the leap, like you said, 4 years ago, jumping into doing this podcast without much knowledge, without any audience, without maybe without the best idea out there. I'm not,
No, I completely agree.
that
was
I had this vision.
Yeah, I had this vision when I got started, and I've said this numerous times. I used to listen to podcasts all the time, and I was doing personal training and things like that, and started working with my father-in-law. And I'm like, we need to talk about this. We need to talk about his journey. As much as I still hate that fucking word, but it started out really good. I thought even the idea was good.
Right.
The product was shit. Like, I was a terrible interviewer, and people are probably thinking, you haven't really gotten that much better. I wasn't good behind the mic. Probably, maybe I haven't gotten any better. I don't know. I had no idea what I was doing as far as editing, sound levels, and things like that. And, as far as that stuff goes, like, we do really, really good. Like, when you listen to some of these other podcasts, we do a very, very good job with that. But, Alan fell off the wagon, ended up having a heart attack because, things got so out of hand. I didn't really have a sense of direction. You were one of my early guests, and then we just
16 or something.
Yeah. And we just kind of came back to that and developed things from there. But yeah, recently it's not my main focus, and it's not because I don't love it and I don't enjoy it. And it's not because I don't enjoy talking with you. It's just, I have so many other things going on that I feel have to be a priority, because it directly contributes to the safety and the well-being and the growth of my family. And that's got to be priority number one, So, I mean, I have ideas for myself in the future of things that I might want to get into. But it'll be something that's very, very narrowly focused when it comes to like strength and conditioning and things like that. And it might not be something that I even ever come back to, because I'm so happy and satisfied doing what I'm doing now and working with the athletes and the teams that I'm involved with, being here local in my community. I think that's kind of what started this whole thing. Was like, I wasn't real happy with my situation, and I felt like I had things to talk about. And it turns out I had a lot of things that I needed to learn about. So that's been a great opportunity that this has given me. But like right now in my life, I'm completely happy. I don't ever feel like I'm going to work. I feel like it's just something that I'm blessed enough to be able to do, and I want to keep doing that. I want to get better at it. And so in order to do that, I've got to cut some things out. And unfortunately, or fortunately, this is one of those. I feel like I don't know what your plans are, and we can get into that a little bit if you want. I think at this point, I'm just holding this back. Like, you've got a great platform with the podcast. You've got the website. I feel, and you've got the time, like you're not beholden to kids or a wife or anything like that. I think you can make huge strides and put out really, really good content that I'm just kind of holding back right now. So what are your plans? And if you don't want to talk about it, we can cut it out. But do you have any idea, like, going forward? Are you going to look for a co-host? Are you just planning on running solo and getting guests on here? What's your ideas going future in the future?
Yeah. So after having thought about it for a little while, I know it's going to be difficult to get a co-host. As we have learned, it's not the easiest thing to schedule. It's not always convenient for both of us, and we got to jumble around our schedule. So I think I will keep my Thursday episodes the same. That's going to be no difference because there are drunk British people everywhere in the world, and there are dumb sports all over the place. And I'll do more like history, more stuff like that, because there are these great stories that have been untold or undertold in the health and fitness community that just need to be brought to light. Like, the early days of bodybuilding is crazy to me because it's very little science, very little knowledge, just a bunch of guys lifting heavy weights and like keeping low body fats.
Modern day bodybuilding is still very little science and very little thought, but yeah.
well, they think they have,
right,
and science and stuff, which just generally means like, pumping, yourself full of chemicals you can't pronounce. It's like, those are both thoughts and science. It's fun.
Exactly. That's Go
ahead. There are those great stories still for Thursday episodes that are untold and that interest me a lot. Who knows if they interest the audience? Those are just like, for me, I enjoy them.
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
And then the normal Monday episodes, it'll be more interview based. I want to get people on. I know I've got a few friends in the industry for the next couple weeks that I'll be able to talk to, that I'll be able to get on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or an hour, where I've got a bunch of friends that are doctors of physical therapy, people that are still involved in the fitness community, whether they're, just gym owners or athletes or what have you. I've got a lot of people where in the short term we can get these good guests on and have, some solid conversations about the health and fitness industry. But as we go on, I'd like to reach out to more people and do more interviews, kind of like I did with Gormy from Gormy Goes Keto, where it's about health and fitness, but it's still about everything else surrounding it. Because you can only talk about, some people can only talk about keto for like a day. Others can talk about keto for 7 months. I'm not holding anything against you. But you know what I mean? It's like, you can talk about
what you put down there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You can talk about like picking up heavy shit until you're blue in the face. And it's like, so you're still going to lift heavy things. Yeah. Yeah, sure am. Cool. How are you going to do that? I'm going to lift heavy things and then lift more heavy things and then do that like 4 times a week for a year straight. It's like, interesting. Just like every other weightlifting program. Got it. But the thing that differentiates the people who are very successful and the people who are moderately successful is still a little bit of a mystery to me. Like, what is making these people tick? What clues can we get from people to make us better? Because that's really what Building Ambition is all about. We're trying to make ourselves better here, but it's still a bit of a mystery as to what kind of mindset you can latch on to, what kind of thought process it takes to drive yourself to the higher level. And as I've brought up, my whole thought process around it is, even if you are general population, even if you are 300 pounds overweight, you can take notes from these elite people because deep down they're still humans. Like humans still function the same everywhere. But taking tips from their mindset, taking tips from maybe just, diet, nutrition, exercise tips that you haven't thought about, some kind of uncommon thoughts around it, and fitting those into your plan are going to be hugely beneficial. So I just want to have these conversations with people kind of like we've been having, where, it's looser conversations. It's not going to be too heavily science based, but it's a good discussion of everything health, everything fitness, and what it takes to succeed.
Love it. Looking forward to it, man. Yeah, I got nothing else.
On that note, I'd like to say, if anyone has guests, make a post, tag me in it, so I can reach out to guests, because I do have guests I want to reach out to. But if the listeners provide me with guests, that would be fantastic, because then I know it's people that you want to listen to, people you're inspired by, and people that we have an interest in, so we can see where other people are successful, and people you look up to. I can kind of ask the questions that we've all been wondering. So if you want, shoot me guests ideas. I am listening, because this is a bit of a daunting task to set up guests and all that good stuff, but I will do it, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. And then you get somebody to confirm, not mentioning any names, that like wants to talk about fat shaming or something like that, and then they just don't show up because they said they sat there for like 5 minutes. But hey, I'm on my way out, so I can talk shit all I want. So there's that.
You can talk shit on your next episode, whenever that is. Get all your rage pent up until like August or September. We'll do a football preview, and then you can complain about whatever you want.
Yeah. So yeah, man, like, and we're coming up on time here. But yeah, it's been fun. I appreciate the heck out of you. I think you're a brilliant man when it comes to exercise science and the philosophy of it, weight loss, everything like that. It's been a lot of fun for me. Again, like, I know like this little project that we have going can go to a much bigger level. It's just, I'm holding it back right now. So that was kind of the entire decision process. And it was never something for me. Like, I started out never thinking about wanting to make money or how can I monetize this or do anything like that. It was just a fun little project. And then to see where it's come and to know where it can go. I'm excited to see what you come up with in the future. I hope I see you everywhere. I hope you end up like TV deals and stuff like that. I think that would be great. And it's really cool for me to sit back and look at who I was and what my mindset and my beliefs were 4 years ago. And then to think, I never thought that I would get to this place where I'm at right now. But I'm being, and let me preface it with this, like, I'm still relatively chubby. You know what I mean? Like, I still have a lot of things that jiggle. I'm not as strong as I once was. So with all that, like, I don't know, man, like, maybe I wasn't successful, but when it comes to coaching, when it comes to serving others and to being like a strong member in the community and my own personal philosophies and beliefs, like, I've maxed out, you know what I mean? And I know I'm interested to see where I end up in another 4 years. And I think, looking back, I think that was always the goal, or always my goal, of this little project. It was just disguised as a weight loss and fitness and nutrition informational set. I don't know. But I was never really crazy about the Building Ambition name. And I've mentioned that to you like numerous times. I'm like, man, it's too general. It doesn't make sense. But I think that was, reflecting this just in the past couple of days, because I knew, we were going to do this. I think it was perfect. And because you say it at the end of every Thursday episode, you do keep building that ambition. and I'm ambitious about my future. Like, I'm excited about my future. Like, I have very selfish goals coming up in the future. Like, I want to be state coach of the year. I want to be like national coach of the year. Like, and I'm going to pursue that relentlessly. But I'm also ambitious about my family and my marriage and my kids. And like my son went to weightlifting this morning with the wrestling team. Like, I was teaching him squat mechanics. Like I love that stuff. I don't need to come on here and, talk about it anymore, because I think I finally found what I'm looking for. And I don't know what the future holds. Like, shit's gonna be really hard, like it still is. Like, graduate school sucks. Like, learning how to teach people to read sucks. But man, like, working with kids all day and like seeing the response when something clicks, and then going to the weight room and work, and then coming home and being with, like, I just love it. And I hope that's what I have conveyed to people over the last 4 years. Like, maybe my message wasn't always the best when it came to weight loss or getting stronger or things like that. And there's probably a ton of things that you disagreed with me about. And I'm talking to the listener now. When it comes to like my philosophies on strength and conditioning or losing weight, whatever. Like, there's a lot of things that I think you could pick out there that was been flawed with my message. But overall, I hope I helped make people better humans. Like, I hope you're nicer to people. I hope you think deeper thoughts when it comes to what you believe and why you believe it. And if I was able to disguise that as like a health and fitness type message, then I was pretty successful. So yeah, it's been a hell of a ride. It's been an interesting 4 years trying to learn how to do this shit. I'm super excited about getting all these fucking microphone cables off my desk and actually having to work. Put this shit away so my kids stop and my cat stops dicking around with all this stuff. Like, that's going to be great. But I'm excited to see where you go in the future. And I know it's all in good hands. But yeah, that's it from me, man. Like, I think I'm probably going to go dark on social media for a while. I'm shutting my Facebook off, mainly because my birthday's coming up, and like getting those birthday messages just annoys the shit out of me from people that I don't even know. So I'm going to go dark on all that. You do have a new Instagram that people need to follow, because I was selfish and I've got mine. I got the Building Ambition one up to like 2,000 followers. I'll post a link on that so everybody can click over and follow Ben. But just in case I come back and I want to start posting booty pics, it's nice to know that I've got my audience there. So that was my only like stipulation with this. I turned everything else over, but I'm like, I might want to like show pictures of my Herbalife when I start selling that later in the future. Yeah, if you guys follow us on there or whatever, I'll post links to all that stuff. But aside from that, everything else should remain the same. Like, if you subscribe, and nothing is going to change. You're just not going to hear me rambling on anymore. So, which is probably great for everybody, I would imagine. So, yeah, man, let's got about 2 minutes here and we'll wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
Well, to your last breath on this show, you are on brand, belittling yourself and your own abilities. So I appreciate the consistency there throughout all these years. And yeah, just want to say thank you, because without you, this wouldn't have happened. Without you building this whole podcast, without you bringing me on, I wouldn't have had anything. I wouldn't have had a voice. I wouldn't have had a platform, and I wouldn't have had a reason to reach out and help all these people. So thank you for doing this. We all greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I think that's all I got. So Post Emeritus, would you like to sign us off one more time?
Yeah, and again, guys, thanks for sticking around for 4 years, man. If you've been listening from the beginning, Jesus God, you're a trooper, because that first year was, oh my God, man, that first year was bad. And yeah, so it's cool though. Like, it's been fun. Again, man, like, I hope you guys ride with Ben and see where this thing goes, because I know he's got some big things planned. I think he's going to do a great job with it. But as always, guys, thanks for listening. I hope you subscribe in iTunes. Follow Ben on Instagram. I will post links. If you're following us right now on Instagram, I will tag him so you guys can click over, follow him, so you don't miss out on anything. I'm going dark. I'm sure you'll hear from me again, but my ass is off of social media for a little bit. I don't want to deal with any of the bullshit. And yeah, you'll hear from me again, just not for a while. So as always, guys, appreciate you. Love you for listening. I hope you keep grinding. Hope you keep on your journey. Is there any other like little quirky things I need to your journey grind?
You're hitting on the big ones right there.
I think that's it. Yeah. Hey, thanks guys. It's been a hell of a ride. I'll see you next time.